Welcome to Trump Rewind. What he really said. 7 Trump's most controversial statements.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured.
I gotta see this guy. I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
I want surveillance of these people that are coming in, the Trojan horse. I want to know who the hell they are.
This channel covers news and public events related to Donald Trump for informational purposes only. We do not endorse or oppose any political party or figure. Number 1. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They are rapists. This quote, made by Donald Trump during his 2015 presidential campaign announcement, refers to Mexican immigrants entering the United States. The statement quickly sparked widespread controversy for its inflammatory language and stereotyping of an entire group of people. Trump was attempting to address concerns over illegal immigration, particularly the dangers he claimed were associated with it. However, many viewed the comment as both racist and dehumanizing. The broader conversation the statement ignited revolves around the complexities of immigration reform in the U.S., a debate that encompasses border security, economic concerns, and humanitarian obligations. While Trump's rhetoric resonated with those who are fearful of unchecked immigration or felt that their economic security was being threatened, it also led to greater polarization in public discourse. This moment raises questions about how public figures balance the need for strong policies with the ethical responsibility to avoid alienating and stereotyping vulnerable populations, especially in a country built on the principles of immigration. Number 2. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters. This 2016 quote from Donald Trump during a campaign rally is often cited as an example of his confidence in the loyalty of his political base. By making this hyperbolic statement, Trump was suggesting that his supporters were so devoted to him that no scandal or controversy, however egregious, could sway them from their commitment. While the comment was clearly intended as an exaggeration, it reveals a deep truth about the state of American politics at the time. The polarization of voters had reached a point where party allegiance and personal loyalty to a candidate often overshadowed traditional political norms or ethical behavior. Trump's statement invites analysis of how political leaders cultivate a dedicated following that may prioritize certain values or policy agendas over others, even when those leaders behave in ways that would normally be considered disqualifying. This quote also opens up a larger discussion about the nature of political loyalty, the psychology of voter behavior, and the increasing trend of identity politics, where a candidate's personality or perceived authenticity can become more important than their policies or conduct. Number 3. Grab 'em by the pee. This infamous quote from a 2005 tape released during the 2016 presidential campaign shows Donald Trump speaking in an extremely vulgar and offensive manner about women. In the recording, Trump described behavior that many interpreted as promoting sexual assault, leading to a massive public outcry. While Trump dismissed the conversation as locker room talk, the impact of the tape was profound, especially during the rise of the #MeToo movement, which sought to expose and address the widespread issue of sexual harassment and abuse, particularly by powerful men. This moment became a flashpoint in conversations about gender, consent, and the normalization of misogyny in public discourse. The controversy also raised important questions about how society holds leaders accountable for their words and actions, and whether forgiveness or dismissal of past behavior is contingent on a person's status or political power. The outrage led to significant discussions about the broader cultural issues of sexism and the objectification of women, particularly in environments where power dynamics enable such behavior to go unchecked. Number 4. You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. This quote, made in response to the deadly 2017 Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, in which white supremacist groups clashed with counter-protesters, is one of the most controversial statements from Donald Trump's presidency. The rally, which resulted in the death of a counter-protester, highlighted the growing presence of extremist groups in the U.S. Trump's comment, which seemed to suggest an equivalence between the white supremacists and those protest against them, drew intense criticism from both political opponents and some within his own party. The statement raised important questions about leadership during moments of national crisis and the responsibilities of public figures to unequivocally denounce hate and violence. For many, this quote represented a failure to confront the dangers of white supremacy head-on. Supporters, however, argued that Trump was trying to strike a balance by acknowledging the presence of peaceful individuals on both sides of the debate. This controversy invites deeper reflection on how political leaders shape public understanding of issues like racism and extremism, and the lasting impact their words can have on national unity or division. Number 5. Why don't we nuke them? This alleged quote, attributed to Donald Trump in discussions about foreign policy, although never publicly confirmed, highlights the often unconventional and aggressive approach Trump was perceived to take in international relations. The idea behind the statement, suggesting the use of nuclear weapons, reflects a lack of regard for the catastrophic consequences such actions could entail. The quote invites broader reflection on the ethical responsibilities of leaders when handling matters of national security and global diplomacy. Nuclear weapons, with their devastating potential, represent one of the gravest threats to global stability, and their use is a decision that requires extreme caution and strategic forethought. Discussions about this quote bring up important considerations about the use of military power, the balance between diplomacy and force, and the long-term impacts of global leadership decisions. It also raises concerns about the temperament and judgment required in high-stakes foreign policy decisions, where the repercussions of a single action could lead to widespread destruction and loss of life. Number 6. Stole countries. This highly controversial statement allegedly made by Donald Trump during a 2018 meeting about immigration policy referred to Haiti, El Salvador, and several African nations in deeply derogatory terms. The comment was widely condemned as racist, xenophobic, and undiplomatic, with many critics arguing that such language degrades entire populations based on stereotypes and cultural biases. The controversy sparked discussions about how world leaders should talk about developing nations, especially those struggling with poverty, political instability, and underdevelopment. Supporters of Trump's blunt style may argue that he was addressing global inequalities in a stark, albeit crude manner. However, critics assert that using such language undermines diplomatic efforts, harms international relationships, and perpetuates harmful stereotypes about non-Western countries. This moment also raises questions about the role of rhetoric in international relations, particularly how public discourse shapes both domestic and global perceptions of countries that are often marginalized on the world stage. Understanding this controversy requires examining the intersection of racism, immigration policy, and foreign diplomacy in shaping global dynamics. Number 7. I want you to do us a favor, though. This quote from a 2019 phone call between Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky became the focal point of Trump's first impeachment trial. It was interpreted by many as an attempt by Trump to solicit foreign interference in the upcoming 2020 U.S. presidential election, specifically by asking Ukraine to investigate his political rival Joe Biden and his son. Critics argued that Trump was leveraging his position and withholding military aid to Ukraine in exchange for personal political favors, an act they viewed as an abuse of power. Supporters of Trump claimed that the call was not improper and that he was merely addressing corruption concerns in Ukraine. This moment highlights the complexities of presidential power, the limits of executive authority, and how checks and balances in government are designed to prevent abuses. The impeachment process and the intense scrutiny surrounding this quote raised critical issues about the integrity of democratic processes, the potential for foreign influence in elections, and the importance of holding public officials accountable for their actions, particularly when personal interests are involved. These expanded explanations delve deeper into the social, political, and ethical implications of each quote, encouraging further reflection on the power of language and leadership in shaping national and global discourse. Thanks for watching Trump Rewind. Stay tuned for more unforgettable moments and insights from Trump's legacy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for your daily rewind.